Anchor's up, sells it full. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How you doing today, Kyle?
All right, Jared, how are you doing today?
Doing good. What's on? Actually, hold on. New tradition, good tradition. I don't know if that one came through good or not. New tradition. I already did that. Hi, how are you? Well, Kyle, why don't you go ahead and drive for a second? I'm obviously not all there.
Take another drink and we'll
I take my first drink.
Yeah. Oh, there's your problem. Another Scarlet and Great episode. UCLA, Ohio State is what we'll be covering here. Ohio State with a 48-10 decisive victory last Saturday night in the Horseshoe. Score-wise, kind of where we thought it would be. Maybe a little bit more on the offensive for Ohio State, maybe a little bit more on the scoring for UCLA, but a 38 decisive point victory for the Buckeyes.
Yeah. I mean, it was a weird game. It was a game in which Ohio State was in control the entire time. Yeah. You had Nico, as Spikes points out, kind of a surprise day of scrub. Really took the wind out of like what it was already a 30. I mean, according to the Sloop picks, it was 31.5 points. So it was already
33.5.
Yeah.
It was picks. 31.
Yeah. It was already slated to be kind of a blowout. Then their best player opts out. He was injured. He was hurt. He had a concussion. I want to say he opted out. That gives an impression that's not accurate. And then Ohio State proceeds to the day of was weird because it started with like rumors. First, you wake up to the Nico news. I woke up to the Nico news. Then there's like all of this talk about how Carnell Tate's not going to play again, which, okay, like you're a 31-point favorite. Then their quarterback isn't going to play. Like, okay, no big deal. Then this rumor mill starts that he's out for the season, which was, as far as I have been able to find anywhere, is totally unfounded, but people get all worked up about that. Then there's conversation that JJ's hurt. And then, yeah, the rumor about Tate. Then there's conversation that JJ's hurt and he ends up, Tate ends up not playing. Smith does end up playing, but Smith doesn't play for very long. He's obviously not feeling great. He's got a bit of a limp. But when he played, he looked good. During the course of the game, Sayin takes a pretty minor hit, but just as he sort of jumps backwards from the hit, he just lands awkwardly, just like kind of a freak thing. And he didn't really show a limp for the rest of the game, but he wasn't right. And you can sort of blame that maybe on not having, because JJ exits the game pretty quick. They go up 17-0. Smith exits the game. Cool. That's fine. Even if he's kind of feeling just a little banged up, that's fine. Then you have Sayin, who has like a true freshman game. Or excuse me, a redshirt freshman game. And he is a redshirt freshman. But at this time, we've elevated our expectations up above that. So he looks very human this game. I don't want to say he struggled. I don't want to say he looked bad. I do want to say he kind of looked like a redshirt freshman college quarterback.
It was a tale of two halves, honestly, for Julian Sayin. I mean, the first half, he started off 18 for 20. Started off 11 for 11, 18 for 20. Threw one more pass at the very end of the game. So first half, he was 18 for 21. Really good. And then he went on being 5 for 10 in the second half. 50% completion in the second half. Definitely very unlike Julian Sand from what we've seen all year. 80% completion and you're 50% in the second half. We'll give him this pass. Like, this is really the first time all season. And Jared said it right. That seemed human. They're 50%. They're 50% in the second half.
He didn't do a lot during the Texas game.
He didn't do a lot, but when he did, he was still pretty accurate.
Yes,
it's not pretend that he didn't look great. Like, he was limited, and when he was able to throw, he did what he was asked to do. But either way, yeah, I think this game here, I feel like there was a lot of lack of execution. I think Brian Day said that, like, at halftime when they were trying to interview him, like, what does the team need to do? And he talked about, like, just execution. They need to do better. And I think that was right on here. The execution needed to be there. I think they started off. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. They did not do well on third downs. Yeah, in the first half, they were 1 for 4 on third downs in the first half. It did help in the second quarter. They were 0 for 2, but on those third downs, they did go for 4. They did go for on fourth down and did get it both times.
Right.
But yeah, it was just lack of execution. I think is a good way to put it.
Yeah, and aside from Tate and Smith just being otherworldly good, which they are, not having them in the game also hurts because you're all of a sudden throwing to people who you haven't thrown to most of the year. And when you are, like, very timing and rhythm based, the way Ryan Day's offense is, the way Julian Sayin appears to be, there were misfires. There were, either miscommunications on routes or maybe just really off the mark throws. Sayin not going to the right guy on a couple occasions. Sayin sailing the ball a couple times, which we're just not really used to seeing. So
yeah, and Ryan Day really let him at it too. And the cameras are all over that there too.
That's kind of typical coach interaction.
The interesting thing here, so saying 23 for 31 in the for the game here, eight incompletions. Half of his incompletions were to Mylan Graham. Not saying they're all Mylan Graham's fault. I think there might have been, one that I can think of that should have caught though. But I think for the most part, I think you were right, Jared, though. Just very uncharacteristic, just overthrows, maybe just miscommunication or not throwing it where it needs to go though. But again, we're going to give him the slack here on this one here.
I mean, it's become very easy to forget that he's a redshirt freshman in playing his first season. It's become very easy to forget that, to his credit. But that is who he is still. And I'm not going to put anything on Mylan Graham. I mean, maybe you can put like some things on Mylan Graham, but Sayin just straight up didn't look correct. Like he was missing passes he normally makes in his sleep. Had some really weird errant throws. The injury might have been a factor. Hard to say for sure. All right, let's.
One more thing, and we'll get to that. One more thing, and we'll get to the report card, Jared. He still threw it 74% completion still.
Yeah, I know.
We're making it sound like he threw it like 59% or something like that.
But that completion percentage is very front loaded. Before he got hurt, before Smith left the game.
Sure. All right. Yep. Let's go ahead and get to the report card. All right. Game plan here. I honestly thought Ohio State was going to run the ball more. I thought they were going to. The stats here show that they ran the ball 33 times. They passed it 34 times. I thought they were going to run it. They were going to run it more. Let's see. They rushed it 15 times in the first half, 18 times in the second half. I'm going to say I'm going to say a B plus. I'm going to grade a little bit lower here. I thought they had a lot of success on the ground, but then I don't know if they were trying to force trying to throw it more just because they got the younger guys in there trying to get them experience. I'm not sure what the deal is with that there, but ground game got it going, and I'll cover more about the run game when we get to it. But I'll say B plus. Just I thought they were going to run it.
I'm going to keep my game plan an A. I share a lot of your same criticisms, but I'm going to put more of that into the in-game coaching personally. I'll explain why when we do.
But yeah, Z Spikes brings up a good point. Not fairly balanced. Yeah, 218 passing, 222 rushing. Yeah, very balanced on the stat sheet. Yeah, in-game coaching, I'll say B. I'll say B. I talked about earlier about the execution here. I thought the in-game coaching wasn't up to par of what we've seen so far this year. So I'll grade it a little bit lower this week. I'll say a B.
I'm gonna agree with you on the B. I think my biggest issue with the in-game coaching was Sayan still being in the game as late as he was. He was kind of dinged up. He wasn't in the correct mental state. You're up big against a team with a notoriously bad run defense. Like, let's just bring the slobs in. Let's bring Link in. Let's just run this game. You have a team that's very banged up right now. You got your two best wide receivers out. Innis didn't necessarily look healthy either. I think I saw him like grabbing his shoulder or collarbone a couple times, something up in that area. Donaldson's out. Daniels missed time last week. The team's not healthy, which by the way, it's week 12. A certain amount of healthy. Yeah, a certain amount of not healthies to be expected.
Yeah. I mean, heck, look at.
But my point is that like you're already up huge against UCLA right now. I just would have liked to seen the starters pulled more quickly. I think Day wanted Sayan to work through his issues he was having, but it kind of felt like it was compounding. So I'm going to go B minus.
I mean, heck, yeah, you mentioned about the Ohio State not being all that healthy right now. There's a lot of teams that's in worse shape too. I mean,
sure.
Yeah. All right. Quarterbacks, 74% completion. Like I mentioned before, 184 yards for Julian Sayan and 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Expectations from what we've seen from Julian and just being uncharacteristic with some of his throws. I'll say B. He still got the job done. He's still a really good percentage. But yeah, especially as the game went along, something was just off. So I'll say B.
Is this the first game he had to deal with wind and rain? I don't think so. Also, I don't know how windy it was.
It wasn't until the wind picked up towards the end of the game, which might have been why he started. His throws might have been a little off as the game went along.
I don't know. I don't think I'm going to say it was weather conditions that were causing issues. Okay. I'm going to say that. But I'm going to go C plus. Our expectations for him are sky high at this point. UCLA's defense is not very good. There's kind of, I know that like some of the stats paint a positive picture and some of the stats paint a negative picture, but I know what I saw with my eyes, and Sayan just wasn't right this game. And that's okay. He picked a good game to be a redshirt freshman.
All right. Moving on to run block. Expectations, who Ohio State played as well. But Ohio State got the run game going. They really got the run game going in this one here. 222 yards. Your 3 running backs, Bo, West, Peoples, all averaged 7 yards or more per carry here. And the Slobs got it done up front. A. I'm going to say an A.
Yeah. couple of things to note here. One, UCLA's run defense is horrendous.
Yes.
If they had put these stats up against a better run defense, I would say A+. Kyle, during Know Your Enemy, we said the baseline expectation was 6 yards per carry based off of how bad UCLA's run defense is. They surpassed that. Good job. You get an A. I'm not going to give an A+ based mostly on the fact that UCLA is terrible on against the run.
Okay.
But Gabe Van Sickle getting a fair amount of time at right guard and looking pretty good in the process. Something to keep an eye on. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm really I'm trying to form my words together here. I was really surprised surprised to see him in there. And then when he was in there, he excelled really well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops as his continues his career at Ohio State.
Pass blocking.
C. 2 sack. No, I'm sorry. Only 1 sack was in the stats here, but he got moved. He had to move around a lot here, and UCLA is terrible.
Pass
they're one of the worst sacks. Teams with sacks in the country.
They had their first sack in weeks against Ohio State.
It was like
Saturday.
like almost a month. It was like almost a month. Yeah, I'm going to say like a C-. Like it's very uncharacteristic. This is where they excel at, is protecting Sand, and they lack of execution. I would just keep it simple.
Some of those were blitz recognition on Sand. Well, I mean, as weird as it is to say, the quarterback is a part of the pass blocking. I mean, this isn't just on the offensive line. This is also on the running backs. This is also on the quarterback, quite frankly. So this isn't us just grading the offensive line. This is grading an entire phase of the game. Running.
All right, running backs were excellent. A+. I'm adding the plus.
Yeah, especially since you had 2 true freshmen out there doing the majority of it. You had James Peoples, who caught a lot of fair criticism based off of his early season performance, going out there and looking like the James Peoples we expected to see. Getting benched will, motivate a guy, but congrats to him for allowing it to be motivation and not, mentally crumbling and, quitting. He's instead decided to, improve and get better and contribute where he can. They said they worked on his vision this week, so that's good to see it translate. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think a lot of the problems James Peoples was having early in the season wasn't talent. It was part vision and part, the desire to break plays open when there weren't opportunities to break plays open.
Yep. All right. Receiving. With JJ out for like 2.5 quarters, Tate out, Ennis did pretty well.
Yeah.
Led the teams in receptions. We got to see a lot of Mylan Graham, of Rogers, of Roberts, Porter. Got to see a lot of faces
Rogers
in here, and I think Rogers looked good. I liked what I see from Porter as well too. Gosh, this is tough to kind of grade just because we're so used to just seeing everything being caught by Jeremiah and Tate, but with them not in the game, I'll say B. I'm just going to say B.
Do B+. On one hand, a lot of those guys have no like actual game experience. Once you get past Ennis, Rogers has a little bit of actual game experience. You obviously have Max Clare out there still, and Clare got touches. But you know, your quarterback was kind of struggling. Your pass blocking was kind of struggling. You had a lot of inexperienced wide receivers out there. That being said, all those inexperienced wide receivers are all still a bunch of 5 stars. So I'm going to go like a B+, I think.
Okay. Drives, conversions. Again, tale of two halves. Ohio State was 1 for 4 in third downs in the first half and 5 for 7 in the second half. So for the game as a whole, 55% conversion on third downs, which I think is what UCLA was averaging.
Yeah.
So I would expect Ohio State to have done a little bit better there. So
I would say Ohio State in Ohio State's defense on that. I think 2 of those third downs in the first half were like because of penalties, I believe, were incredibly long, and they weren't really even trying to get the first down. They were trying to set up the fourth down.
Sure.
Conversion.
And if you want to consider fourth downs, they did convert 2 fourth downs as well. So you can say 8 out of 11, which makes that seem a lot better. But they did have to settle. I would say like a B minus.
They did have to settle for field goals twice in the first half. So that's not against the defense. That's not great. You kind of don't want to have to do that. But they did get in the end zone 3 times in the first half.
I'll say B minus.
Yeah, I think I'll go B+.
Okay. All right.
And just for the record, since we're talking about long third downs and penalties, one of the worst calls I've seen against Sareveld on that holding. Don't know what I don't know. I don't even know how to criticize that because I don't even know what the hell they were talking about. And if memory serves, that set up one of those really long third downs. But although my memory doesn't serve all that often, if I'm being honest.
And explosiveness here, I honestly had quite a bit of explosiveness, especially on the run game there. So I'll stick with just an A. I'll say A. Lot of explosiveness on the offense there.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Kind of like with the run blocking though. I don't really want to add the plus onto it because of who they were playing.
Sure. All right. Let's go ahead and take a quick ad break here, and we will get back to some more grading here. TheSloopcast.com is your link for anything and everything Sloopcast related. Check out our merch store. We added a lot more stuff to our merch store, merch.thesloopcast.
Both of them.
Merch.thesloopcast.com and 7071.thesloopcast.com. A lot of new things in there. So if you're interested in getting out some Sloopcast swag or
Christmas time
non-Sloopcast swag, you can head over again, merch and 7071.thesloopcast.com. Yes, and Christmas is right around the corner. All right, we'll take that ad break and be right back.
All right. Defense.
All right, defense. Game plan. I can't really say too much about first team defense. They got the job done.
And I think that's who we're talking about with the game plan.
Yep. I mean, they let up 50 yards in the first half.
Yeah.
A.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same thing with in-game coaching is an A as well.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have any issues with the in-game coaching either. I'm not going to give them the plus just because of the opponent and the opponent not having their quarterback and all that. I'm not going to give them the plus.
Sure.
And just because of the scenario. And by the way, I just want to point out people who want to freak out that JJ didn't play like any of the second half. Neither did Caleb Downs. maybe they were just sitting some of their best, already very experienced players to preserve them for the long haul. Or you can freak about Caleb Downs too if you want to. You can choose one of those two options.
All right, tackling. The team as a whole did well.
Yeah, there were some.
I don't want to go into pointing names and all that, but yeah, A minus. A minus is, I think, justified. Yes.
All I'm gonna say is,
if you know, you know.
All I'm gonna say, Kyle's gonna say is that. All I'm gonna say is that when there's a missed tackle on the defense, it's typically one guy.
If you know, you know. We'll just keep it at that. Run stop, A plus. They did extraordinary in the run stop.
I mean,
A plus.
It's worth pointing out that Nico is also their top rusher.
Yes.
I'm not going to give him the plus for the same reason I didn't give the run blocking a plus. It's just because it was just kind of expected. That's it.
Yeah. All right.
Which one did you give the minus to, Spikes? Was that tackling? Okay.
Pass rush. Pass rush. I'm going to give a D. I'm giving a big old fat D for the pass rush. Where is the pass rush? Where is the pass rush
in chat, Spikes?
On this here? Like they did not get much pressure on Duncan. What do we have here? 5 tackle for losses, which is good, which is fine for Ohio State, but 0 sacks when Ohio State was one of the best to get to the quarterback in the country, and UCLA is. I have to look at the numbers, but
one of the worst.
They weren't good. They weren't good.
Well, can I point out that Nico kind of creates his own sacks?
Yeah, 100. They were 103rd. Sure. I mean that plays a factor into it as well. 103rd, 7.77% of the time of the QB sacks per play. Yeah, D.
Yeah. UCLA was playing a very conservative, like single read, then hit your check down type of offense because they were unexpectedly starting your criticism is valid, but I don't think the statistics line up here. This was not UCLA's offense. This was not Nico. They had a young, inexperienced guy in there. They told him to essentially do one read, then check it out, get rid of the ball as quick as possible. That's not to say Ohio State shouldn't have had better pass rush, because they should have.
They should have, yeah.
But I think the D is very harsh. I'm going to go with like a B.
All right. Pass coverage. Kind of going along with what you were saying, Jared. Dinking and dunking the passes.
Dink and dunking, nickel and dime.
There you go.
Yeah. I love how often you mix your metaphors genuinely.
I know. I thought overall the pass coverage was fine. There wasn't really any like over the top throws where the defensive backs had to make a play. There weren't really many, if any, that were like that. It was just more of getting it to the receiver and letting them make a play. And they did have one play that went for over 50 yards.
Right.
And that was kind of
against.
Yeah, other than that, I thought they were fine.
The backups?
It was, if I do go to big plays, it was towards the end of the third quarter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say an A minus. I'll say A minus.
I think that's fair. I'll second your A minus.
Okay. All right. Impact plays.
By the way, I just saw some people ripping, and I'm not pointing out spikes. He did say, because Sanchez legitimately was the one who gave up that long pass. So I'm not pointing the finger at spikes on this. But I did see some people like ripping into Sanchez. One, as Spikes points out, he's a true freshman. He did give up a few passes, but a couple of those passes he gave up were drag routes. The drag route is the premier, like, man beater, like, pass route. He was playing man and he got beat on a drag route. That's life. I am sorry. That's just life. He'll be fine. Don't turn Sanchez into some sort of scapegoat. He'll be fine. He played a lot when Elder Styles was hurt. He played a lot in those games and played really well. So I have no pessimism in regards to Sanchez. I just want to toss that out.
Impact plays, Jared. What do you got for impact plays?
5 tackles for loss, no sacks. Was there any turnovers?
0 turnovers in this game.
I didn't think so. I feel like,
and they're usually, and they're prone to turnovers though.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not. They're averaging 1 a game.
Yeah.
They're averaging 1 a game.
And what was in the first half, what was the time of possession like? Because, as Spikes points out, not enough plays. I'm thinking that might be that might be the case.
All right. So if I'm doing by halves, first half, Ohio State, 18.5 to UCLA's 11.5.
Pretty dominant. I just don't think there's a lot of opportunities for impact plays and turnovers and stuff like that.
36 plays to 21. 15 play difference. I'll say B. I'll say B. The main thing with the impact plays, it's just not. I was hoping to see some more sacks, some more pressure on the quarterback there. So I'll say B. Everything else was fine.
I'll say a minus. I'd say they did fine considering the limited amount of time UCLA had the ball.
Okay. All right. Stops. Let's see. Ohio State held them 5 for 13 on 3rd downs and 0 for 2 on 4th downs. So good. And that was pretty good. What is that? It's like about 40, around 40%. A little bit higher than what they're averaging though. So you did stop them on 4th down twice too. So that'll up it up a little bit for me. So I'll say A-.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a standard A.
Okay. All right, and don't break.
Especially if we limit this to the starters, because I know that there were a couple, one in particular, but a couple bigger plays for their offense against the backups, but against the starters, I don't remember any.
I'll say A.
Yeah, the starters lost them the plus, or excuse me, the backups lost the starters the plus here, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm gonna go with an A.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick second ad break, and we're going to finish our ratings here. Again, thesloopcast.com, your link for anything, everything Sloopcast related. Patreon.thesloopcast.com if you want to be a patron and help support Jared and I. If you want to join our Discord page, that is discord.thesloopcast.com, or if you want to watch Jared and I over at YouTube, that is youtube.thesloopcast.com. If you can't remember all of those, just simply go to thesloopcast.com for all those links. We'll take that ad break and be right back.
All right. In-game coaching for the entire team.
All right. I'm averaging here, looks like an A-.
Yeah. This one I put a little bit more on the head coach than I do with the other ones. I'm gonna drop him down to a B. I wanted the starters pulled quicker.
Sure. Motivation and effort. I feel like this is the one that may grade him a little bit lower here.
I think it's. I don't think the motivation.
I'm gonna say B.
Issue.
I'll say like a B minus.
I don't think I agree. I think it's more on the execution side than the motivation and effort. I'll go like an A minus.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And execution mainly on the offense. Defense execution was spot on with the first team there.
Right.
But the offense side, yeah, like to see that a little bit better there. So I'll averaging it out. I'll say a B plus.
Yeah, I'm gonna say a B, a C for the offense, an A for the defense.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you said a B. What? You said plus.
All right. Discipline here. Let's see. 3 penalties for 20 yards. I think that's pretty good.
Yep. Especially Iggy drew a penalty that very well could have been a
he did
an offsetting penalty that he just simply didn't get called for it. And sometimes when you initiate the situation, you get away with that because Iggy initiated that situation and he needs to play with a cooler head. So I'm personally still going to count that against him, even though it technically works out well for Ohio State. The holding call was crap, quite frankly.
If you take that out, there was only 2, and that was an illegal formation, which I had. That also crap. That was crap.
That also looked weird.
And then the only other one was in the third quarter for a false start. Actually, yeah, I'll say B. Even though it's 3 penalties, I would say an A plus for discipline. I'll say A plus.
That feels like an overcorrection. I'll say an A minus.
Okay.
But even the rules guy couldn't explain it. Yeah. It made no sense. Yeah. It looked like everyone who needed to be on the line was on the line. I don't know what else to say.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a free play on an inadvertent football on the field. Is that what that was? That's funny. Yeah, no. I remember what you're talking about. I don't know if I heard the explanation that there was a random football on the field.
Special teams.
Well, you get a punt block, sort of. I mean, hey, the stat book says it's a punt block.
Yep.
And of course, the kickoff return. You
Add that plus, Jared. Add that plus.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an A plus. It's
fielding was perfect.
You get a touchdown.
Okay. Yeah, fielding was perfect at field goals, 2 for 2. Punting, you averaged over 50 yards a punt.
How many punts?
And you get just 1. And you and you get a touchdown on special teams too. Yeah, A plus.
And you get a punt block.
Sort
of. Statistically.
It goes down that Caden Curry. It goes down as Caden Curry got a punt block.
Yeah. I mean, he was in the way of the shank. Shh.
Details. All right, and turnovers. There was 0. There was 0 in the game, so I can't say anything negative.
Hold on. Can you want to back me on this?
Sure.
Yeah.
NA.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And overall, Jared, offense, I'll say B. Rushing, I was really happy with what I saw on the rushing attack. Passing, Julian saying we'll get a pass for his uncharacteristic passing that he had in this game here. So averaging it out, I'll say a B. for offense.
What was the final score again?
48-10.
Okay, just checking. One of those was special teams.
Yes.
And one of those was set up by special teams.
Yep.
I guess. I'll say A-.
Defense. Oh, looking here, it looks like I have an A- as my defense. I'll round it up into an A.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But two things that's going to stop me from giving them an A+ is the fact that UCLA's offense was already kind of bad, and then you remove Nico from it, and then the backups give up 10 points. So you lose your plus based off of that.
They only had 2 drives. UCLA only had 2 drives that were over 22 yards.
Both of those in the fourth quarter.
Well, no, both of them in the third quarter.
Excuse me. Yeah, I guess the first touchdown was in the third quarter.
Oh, no, it was. Well, no, the third quarter was the touchdown, and the field goal, they started it with the ball at the end of the third quarter, but took like 6 minutes off going into the fourth quarter then.
Yeah.
And overall, I mean, yeah, 48-10 looks really nice on paper there. So overall, I was saying A-. It's a little sloppy at times. I think obviously there's some things that Ryan Day will see on the film to make the team better. But honestly, like, you get in and out there, no major injuries. Yeah, there's some people who are just a little dinged up, a little hobbling here and there. But overall, no major injuries. In and out with a win there. Yeah, A-.
Yeah, I think A- is fair. I mean, your starters won this game 42-0. Yeah, I'll stick with that. Your starters won this game 42-0. So no real even now. Yeah, your starters won the game 42-0. Kyle, what are we doing? Yeah, they get an A.
All right, that is it. That is our grading there.
All right, what happened? How did that slide? How long has that been like that? Anyway. All right. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the report card. All right, Kyle. Yeah, I guess I can just ask you what's in Kyle's corner.
I'm just gonna make them real quick here, just because there was a lot of things that happened here recently. Eli Johnson commits to Ohio State, a 4-star safety for the 27 class. Dre Quinn from the 26 class, defensive end, 4-star, formerly pledged to Clemson, commits to Ohio State. Ohio State gets a flip as well over the weekend of a former Louisville commit, tight end of Nick Latar, committing to Ohio State as well. Big flips for Ohio State recently. A lot of flips.
Yeah. Recruiting machine is buzzing right now. And by the way, this is normal. Of course, this is a little bit more obvious now because National Signing Day is mostly just early National Signing Day, which is in December. So it makes sense now. But even in the past, the national championship recruiting bump came the year after. So even when National Signing Day was more in February, if you won the national championship, that doesn't mean you immediately got a good class. It takes time for these relationships to develop, right? So year after national title, And quite frankly, who else in the country right now has the combination of elite and stable that Ohio State has? Who are surefire bet programs in the country right now, where you know it's going to be stable and you know it's going to be elite?
Mm-hmm.
It's Ohio State. It's Georgia. You could make a case for Texas A&M, although I don't know if there's a long, most of the usuals are shopping for a coach. That's also a very good point. Penn State is coach shopping. I don't have, we all know who's looking for coaches right now. I don't have to. Yeah. LSU, a lot of big programs are coach shopping right now. So that's obviously going to hurt recruiting a lot for those programs. And quite frankly, if we just want to be honest, Ohio State's not going to be retaining a ton of talent off of this team. Like Jeremiah Smith's going to cost you a lot of money, and Julian Sand's going to cost you a lot of money. And there are defensive players who are going to cost you a lot of money, but Ohio State's going to lose a lot of their top flight players to the draft this year. So there's budget. It's a little bit easier to sign these players when you have a little bit of budget in hand, which they haven't had for the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Sonny Styles is coming off of the books. Arvell Reese is coming off the books. Iggy's coming off the books. Carnell Tate's coming off the books. That's a huge expense. A couple offensive linemen are coming off the books at really big expenses. Caden Curry, another big expense coming off the books. Caleb Downs almost certainly going to go pro. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money coming off your budget. You can spend a little bit more in recruiting right now. Period. Yep. National championship, a little extra money in the budget. Good recruiting class. Sometimes it actually is that simple.
Yeah.
Sometimes it actually is that simple. All right, Kyle. Anything else in Kyle's Corner?
One last fun note here, because I saw this and I thought I'd point this out just because of Ohio State's kickoff return touchdown.
Yeah.
How many years has that been? 12 years?
I thought it was
14
20
years. Has it? Gosh.
I thought I heard 20. I could be mistaken. But that's the number I thought I heard.
Ohio State coming into the game was 91st in the country for kickoff return averages.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they only attempted 3 returns all year.
Right.
I mean that. I mean, when your opponent's only averaging 7 points a game, that plays a factor. So this was return number 4, and because of that return being 100 yards and going for a touchdown, Ohio State for kickoff return averages is now number 1 in the country.
Yeah. Hey, if there's something to win, go win it, as Urban Meyer says.
All right, that's it. That's all I got. And the Buckeye basketball wins.
Yeah. New court debut too.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
It's sick. I'm a big fan. All right. That's it. That's the end of today's show. Tonight's ending music brought to you by, we did a punk band last week. That was fun. Let's do it again. Last week was the Raging Nathans. This week are the Dopamines. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, these are the Dopamines.